In July 2015, 5 youth from across Alberta were selected to travel to South Africa as a part of the Alberta Council for Global Cooperation's Change Your World Youth Leadership Tour. I was really excited just to be able to compare and to see how is it different for someone my age across the world.
I wanted to get a chance to see how other people live from my own eyes.
I was hoping to learn about the culture, some of the ways they do things, and why they do it that way.
This is my first time even out of the province, so it's kind of a big trip, so I wasn't really sure what to expect.
Before I left for South Africa, I was really hoping to meet some of the locals and to see the Keiskamma Trust firsthand.
We were excited to be hosted by the Keiskamma Canada Foundation and visit the programs run by their local partner, the Keiskamma Trust, in and around the village of Hamburg in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. Since the year 2000, the Keiskamma Trust has been finding meaningful ways to support communities where poverty, unemployment, and HIV/AIDS continue to have negative effects. We visited the Trust's health programs, education programs, and various creative art programs, which create opportunity for local people.
I was really excited to see the education and health projects that Keiskamma was running because I think that education coupled with health can have a really big impact on an individual's life.
The health program started in year 2000 by Carol Baker Hofmeyer together with Eunice Mangwane. And then at that time there was a big struggle in the community of not accepting HIV, or they didn't have more information about HIV. And then Eunice used to go to different communities around Paddy and inform people that it is a disease that is here. And then people should not think that they are bewitched when they are suffering from this disease, but they must look for medical help.
The health project in Hamburg is really important because Hamburg and South Africa in general has a really high HIV rate. And so the health project was not only combating HIV, but TB. They also help with mental health illnesses. They have, a main center in Hamburg, and then they have villages that have health workers. And so each village will have a health worker that will report back to Hamburg.
It's a combi. Today I'm going to take you to my patients. My patients that are not really, that are really in an impoverished situation.
And
those that I've met, when I first met them, they were their CD4 count was very low, but today I think they are not in the same situation.
To be able to get access to that medication is hard enough for HIV, but then there's an added challenge with HIV that you have to first go 2 hours or sometimes further to get access to this medication, and then you have to figure out a source of food, because if you don't take food, then that medication is useless. Basically what I learned was that a complicated problem needs a complicated solution. There was one moment where we were at the treatment center and they started singing some of the songs that they use to educate people about HIV. Because this problem has become such a huge part of their lives and a huge part of the community, it's incorporated into the culture and it's incorporated into the art.
They do different types of arts there, like embroidery, and they make different bags and tapestries that they then sell around the world and even in Canada.
They give jobs back to the community, especially to women who are less empowered there. So they really do focus on the women's issues there and how that can combat the AIDS epidemic by empowering women. They can make their own money, and then they also feel more empowered because art is a form of expression. In the beginning of Keiskamma, they created this giant tapestry. They call it the altarpiece, and it signifies the story of Hamburg when they started giving medicine to the people with HIV. They modeled it after a famous painting that has like Jesus in it and then some saints on the side, but in place of Jesus and the saints, they have a grandmother in the middle and two women in the community who were touched by HIV, and they helped in the community with it. So again, focusing on women's issues and inequality, it shows how strong they are, and they're really giving young people role models that are female. People are very proud of that altarpiece. You know, it's a symbol of everything that they've gone through in Hamburg with the HIV epidemic. It creates a dialogue in the community about HIV and the problems and the stigma and how it can be treated. And, you know, it really breaks down the barriers in a way that I don't think anything else could, except that art can.
The garden program is not just any other garden program. It's a therapeutic garden. It provides grandmothers the opportunity to speak amongst each other and to share their experiences.
It's important because when the gogos they are together, they share about their problems. Like, because some of them, they lost their daughters and they live with their grandchild. So when they are in the garden, they share their stories. Some of them, they are not happy about that when they came to the garden and talk about this situation. So when they go home, they feel free because they know that, oh, my neighbors is just like me.
So in the pilot garden in Hamburg, they use a natural approach to gardening. They don't use pesticides like we do here and mostly do here in Alberta. So for instance, they use an onion and a pepper spray to take off bugs, so the bugs would not be attracted to the plants as the onion pepper spray would repel them. And also, when they aerate the soil, they do not use heavy machinery, it seems. And I found that very interesting.
When we prepare the soil, we can't tend the soil, because what we learn is that in the soil there is some bacteria staying on the topsoil. There is some they staying on the subsoil. So when we tend the soil, that bacteria they didn't survive on the topsoil. So you kill the soil.
Not only can you talk about others and provides therapy, but also provides food and perhaps income. So they receive a lot of vegetables there. Their gardens are mostly vegetables and that sort of a thing, and fruits. So I think that's very useful for people who don't necessarily have a garden before, but now they have one. It's very important to have enough food so the HIV/AIDS medicine will work.
If they see that patient is sick, they need something like green things, they can come here and you can pick it for that person.
After seeing what they were doing there, I found it very interesting how they had some resources from Canada and from other locations that helped them fund this program and how it's become sustainable now.
The creche, it's a play school daycare type thing. I think the program is really excellent. There's lots of kids who go there, so I could find that'd be a challenge, but there's a really good energy. The younger kids who are there all day and don't need to go to school, they get 2 meals a day, and I think they kind of incorporate like learning and play together. So they learn songs and like the alphabet. And then after school, some older kids will come, and it also gives them a place to hang out, and then they'll get another meal there.
I see a real challenge and a real need for early childhood development, because that's where it all begins. But we can't forget about the kids who are already in the system and by the time they're in middle school are 2 and 3 years behind where they should, not because of their ability but because of lack of resources, etc.
We don't have much time to study.
Yeah.
Yes. We can study 2 days, but 3 days we are not study. All a week, we just go free to school.
Yeah, to sit in the sun. Without
And eat food.
And eat food only.
We are eating at school.
All of the kids are smart students, just like us, but their system's kind of failing them in the sense that their teachers aren't always reliable, or they don't have the same resources we do here.
There's a need for everything, and there aren't many people to support it and to drive it. So Keiskamma Trust is very holistic in trying to reach all age groups and support a variety of needs.
The Keiskamma Trust is pushing towards exploring the education and bringing it closer to everyone. They want to expand, and they're bringing more resources to the schools, the teachers, not only the learners. So I know they want to see more and big and excellent things happening. Yeah.
We showed up to the theory class at the Music Academy, and we totally interrupted their class, and a bunch of the students got up and gave us an impromptu performance. They just pulled out sheet music and they decided to play a song, and it was an incredible performance, and it was really inspiring to see. The Music Academy is a pretty big program in Hamburg. So they start out in recorders, so they start out a basic recorder, and then as they get older they keep moving up. They practice their scales, they have classical music that they practice, but they also did a lot of traditional music. They mixed their music and their performance with storytelling. They had their students learn music specifically for an old legend from around the area. They had all these props, and then they had the people acting, and then they had the students who were performing. The community did a really interesting thing by incorporating art and music and education into what they do and their purpose. There's definitely a connection between students from the Music Academy, just with that extra confidence and that extra push from the Music Academy to pursue their academics. A lot of people from the Music Academy ended up going to university as well.
After 2 weeks in South Africa, the 2015 Change Your World Tour was coming to an end. From supporting the well-being of those affected by HIV/AIDS, providing youth with educational opportunities, to creating employment through art, we discovered Keiskamma's programs really do create lasting change. We certainly learned a lot in our short visit, especially how together, Canadians and South Africans can use a holistic approach to tackle the most pressing issues faced by rural communities in the region.
The South African youth and us, we got along very well. We became very good friends, and we were sad to see each other part ways.
It really becomes apparent what first world problems are when you kind of see what other people are living with. People value what they have, and they're happy with what they have, even if it's little.
What stuck out to me mostly was a woman inequality, because that touches me in a way. Like, I feel like that's a problem even in Canada in a little bit, but not quite as bad. But the way that they're dealing with it and addressing it is really inspiring.
I feel definitely grown up a little bit more, know a little bit more, and also I'm just now more curious.
A big thing that I learned from what Keiskamma does is their sense of community. So the way that they can pull together and create this huge project with all these different facets, and it's something I'll definitely bring home, to be able to use community to support what you need to change and what you want to do.